Michael O'Leary of Ryanair. With me is Chris Roebuck, who is a management expert at the Cass Business School in London. This isn't a financial problem. It could develop into a financial problem, but it's actually a management problem, isn't it? It seems that way.
Well, it's completely a management problem because there has to be a fundamental failure of leadership somewhere in Ryanair, in that this issue did not suddenly appear out of the blue last Wednesday. You know, in terms of the holidays with the regulators or whatever the underlying causes of this problem, they must have known about it before.
There's been some changes in regulation, haven't there?
Yeah, the Irish regulator has moved the holiday dates for pilots so that Ryanair has effectively got a shorter holiday year than it previously had. But the critical thing is somebody somewhere in Ryanair has messed up, because obviously the regulator, as I say, didn't suddenly announce this at short notice. And there's also the issue about, this is one of the most fundamental things that any organisation has to do. Ensure that you organise the holidays of your staff so that you can continue to deliver to your customers. It's the basic.
OK, but isn't there something else going on here? Aren't they losing pilots?
Well, there are certain issues in the background that I think are causing Ryanair problems. The arrival of Norwegian onto the market has caused Ryanair to lose, we understand, a minimum of 140 pilots this year directly. 140
sounds a huge number. Can you put that into context?
Well, no, I mean, they have a significantly larger number of pilots, and they also actually employ contract pilots, like locum doctors, but for aeroplanes. But the issue is that the suggestion that is being fed back through the rumour mill is that Norwegian is offering better deals, better treatment as employees than Ryanair is. And for example, some pilots with Ryanair are on 0 hours contracts. So the fact that this large number have moved pretty much on block suggests that there is a fundamental decision being made by some employees that, to be blunt, if I had a choice of working with Ryanair or Norwegian, I'd go Norwegian.
That's really interesting, because does this... We're not quite talking about gig economy here, the sort of 0 hours contracts, as you say, but close to it.
Yes.
Are we talking about sort of reasons why the gig economy, the 0 hours contract economy, can't continue indefinitely? Am I seeing the end of that?
Well, actually, if you talk about the gig economy, there's some really interesting research that would show that if you take the entire group of people on the gig economy, somewhere in the region of only 15 to 20% actually want to be in the gig economy. The others are there because it's the only job on offer at the time.
But what seems to be happening here is that companies are saying, well, maybe this doesn't work for us. Maybe there's a price to be paid here, and we're suddenly realising how big a price that is. And that's why those pilots are going. That's why they're having problems in running their airline.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie, at its most basic, we go to the core of how you run any business, which is effectively, do you have trustworthy leaders who are treating their people right? And in an environment where people have a choice, if you're not, they'll leave. Now, the arrival of Norwegian onto the scene is perhaps giving people who are pilots in Ryanair a choice that they previously didn't have. If you look at, for example, in the taxi market, the arrival of Taxify on the market has given people who work with Uber a choice they didn't have. In the end, this is about a fundamental mess-up of leadership that they should have seen coming, and they will pay the price.
OK, Chris Roebuck from Cass Business School, thank you very much indeed for that fascinating subject. Now, we can go to